Welcome back to the Equipping ELLs Podcast. Something I hear over and over again from teachers inside our membership is this: how do I assess my students without going crazy? And when I do assess, what do I actually use to track it all? And how do I not drown in paperwork when I'm doing this? If you've asked yourself any of those questions, this episode is for you. Now, here's my honest and maybe even a little unpopular opinion, but I want to share this. If you're new to working with English learners, don't spend your first few months buried in WIDA standards. Okay, I hear this all the time of people who join our membership and say, well, I was given the WIDA standards and they said, just use this. This is all you need. It's not that easy. So don't waste your time right now. We'll come back to when you should bring those in, but don't waste your time right now trying to decode them into your own system of tracking. That will come in time. What you need first are simple, consistent ways to see where your students are at, track their language growth, and have something concrete to share with teachers and parents. Today, I want to give you 3 essential tracking systems that will set you up for success this year without drowning you in paperwork. Quick reminder before we dive in, if you're listening to this podcast, but you're more of a visual learner, did you know we also have a YouTube channel? You can actually see examples of these systems in action. Just head over to YouTube and follow Equipping ELLs so you don't miss a thing. All right, let's dive in. First up is quarterly progress monitoring. Think of this like a snapshot. 3 to 4 times a year, you're checking in on all 4 domains: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. The key is to add this into your lesson plans now. Schedule it ahead of time so it doesn't sneak up on you. Figure out what tool you're going to use, get it ready, and now put in your plan book at the end of quarter 1, end of quarter 2, end of quarter 3, whenever it works for you. Add that in because this snapshot is crucial. It doesn't have to be formal or overwhelming. You can use a quick writing sample, a short oral retell, or a simple listening response task. The point isn't to grade it, it's to give you data that shows progress over time. This is really a powerful way to check in on your students' progress. You need to make sure that this is something that I think is the highest priority, because you want to know all the things you've taught the last 7 weeks. Are they making growth? Am I providing the right support that they need? Or am I holding them back? Are they ready to move forward faster? Or do they need more scaffolds? Maybe they're not really at this level and they need to move back. That's okay. You just need to know that so that you don't spend the whole year really not providing exactly what they need. So these snapshots help you to check in, to take a look, and to also see how are they doing with the other peers who are at the same language level. Are they making the same kind of growth? Are they really not making growth? And maybe this is a concern to bring up and concerns you've had, but you didn't have the data to show, this child's not making the same type of growth as the peers who are at the same language level and doing the same work. Now, when it comes to a progress monitoring, you can, like I said, keep it simple. Just get it set up now so that you have it for the rest of the year. But if you do want one inside of the Equipping ELLs membership, we do have a progress monitoring K through 12. We have the teacher script that walks through all of the domains. So you have it all done for you by levels. We have the student script so that you can do a quick check-in to see what language level those students are at and then guide your lessons accordingly. Okay, this can be done. There's 4 different versions. So you do it 4 times a year and have that benchmark assessment that you need. Now, I enjoy doing this one-on-one because then it gives me that opportunity to kind of pause, check in with my students, see how they're doing, just really check in emotionally with them, what's going on, build that trust. But if you have a big caseload, I get that you probably can't do everything one-on-one. So we do have that in a digital Google Forms option. It's all voiced over with Mote, so you can send that through Google Classroom and get the results to see where your students are at. That's kind of the magic, is to have those benchmarks already in place so that you're going to take a pause, you're going to check in on language development. And this also is going to help you prepare for those state testings that will come before you know it in the middle of the year. Don't get me started. But We cannot just only depend on the access scores to guide everything we do with our language learners. That's a one-time snapshot. We need more consistent snapshots to really see where our students are at. And what's really great is when you have these quarterly snapshots, you'll be able to show growth in a way that teachers, administrators, and even parents can immediately see. So that's tracking system number 1. Our second system is generic rubrics for language development. Instead of reinventing the wheel for every assignment, have a few rubrics that work across grade levels and content areas. For example, one for oral language, one for writing, one for participation and engagement. Keep them simple. Think beginner, developing, and expanding. A rubric for writing might look at sentence length, vocabulary use, and clarity. A rubric for speaking might track whether students are using phrases versus full sentences. And the beauty of rubrics is that they allow you to be consistent and they help you communicate student growth in a way that's very understandable to classroom teachers. They're also great for setting goals with students because you can show them, here's where you are and here's what it looks like to move up. Here's a goal for you with your writing. Here's a goal for you when you're listening. Very specific goals that you can share with the students. And here's another bonus. Generic rubrics are one of the easiest ways to track how your students are doing in their grade level content classrooms. You don't have to create a separate assessment. You just apply the rubric to the same assignment the rest of the class is doing. That way you can measure their growth in relation to grade level expectations and capture their language development at the same time. Now, I want to show you some of these rubrics. So, for example, here we have our listening rubric, right? We have the goals over on the side. We have the rubric to show where they're at on their listening skills. And what's really helpful is when you're pushing in or you're co-teaching is to bring these with you and to assess as the students are engaging with the homeroom content. And it's going to help you show, like I mentioned, those goals to your students, but it's also going to help you show to the homeroom teacher ways that maybe they can scaffold a little more or scaffold a little less. They're very clear goals for the teacher as well. So you can show, when I did a quick listening rubric when the student was listening to you explain about this, and I saw that they really, most of the time they were lost in the conversation. So maybe you should try to add in some visual supports or try to slow down, or after, you share something with the class, maybe repeat it in a slower way to your newcomer student who's sitting on the carpet with you. Helps you to really kind of coach and mentor the homeroom teachers by using these really simple rubrics. Now, because I know rubrics can be time consuming to create, we want to make it easy for you. We'll share our generic rubrics with you for free. All you need to do is DM us on Instagram at Equipping ELLs with the word rubrics, and we'll send them right over. Make sure you give us a follow first so that it doesn't get lost in your inbox when we send you the rubrics. So follow us on Instagram at Equipping ELLs, send us a message with the word rubrics, and we will get this free set over to you right away so that you can easily and quickly start to incorporate these into your assessments and assignments. All right. Tracking system number 3 is language portfolios. This one is often overlooked, but it is powerful. What you want to do is have each student keep a portfolio. It could be digital, it could be a binder or a folder. What they're going to be doing is collecting work samples throughout the year. Things like writing samples, recordings of their speaking, reading fluency passages, photos of group work, all different things that show language growth and development. Why does this matter? Because it shows real growth over time. It's also motivating for students to look back and see how far they've come, right? We want to help them build confidence and continue to build momentum on their long journey of learning a new language. So seeing their growth of their own work is a huge way to do that. And it's also a great way that when it comes time to meet with parents or advocate for a student, having their own words, their own writing, their own progress in front of you is so much stronger than a test score. I'm going to put a link in the show notes of an episode we did back in April of Kelly, who shared with us all about how to do digital portfolios. It was an amazing episode. Go check it out if you want to go deeper on the topic of digital portfolios. These are something that just put in your lesson plan book again, maybe every 2 or 3 weeks. Take one of your times with your students to have them choose different passages or writing passages or reflecting on work, things that they want to put in their portfolio, and develop it throughout the year. You will not regret taking the time to do this. It is a powerful way to really show students growth. You also can even align this with your quarterly check-ins. So every few months, you can add it to the portfolio, and by the end of the year, you'll have a powerful story of growth. Now, before we wrap up, I want to add 2 more important notes here. First, consistency matters more than the system itself. Whether you use my progress monitoring tools, your own rubrics, or a portfolio in a binder, what matters most is that you stick with it all year long. Growth only becomes visible when you're consistent. So think back to those 3 I shared today and decide which one feels the most doable to you and commit to sticking with it. Maybe it's getting this progress monitoring, printing it, getting it set up so that you already have this ready and you're going to put it in your plan book and do it 4 times this year. Maybe it's grabbing our free generic rubrics and starting there. Whatever feels the most doable, start there and commit to it. The second thing is use a digital system to stay organized. Okay, paper is great, but things get lost. If you can, keep a simple Google Doc or a spreadsheet or a digital folder where you record scores and save samples. That way you have everything in one place and you can easily share it with teachers, admins, or parents. I would recommend to have a spreadsheet with all your students where you can track scores, you can track your generic rubrics, any assessments you do. And then I'd also recommend to have a Google folder for each of your students so that by quarter you can be putting things in there, taking pictures, using voice recorder on your phone, uploading it right into that folder, and you will not lose anything. It's going to be really helpful when it comes time to report cards. Get that system set up now and stick to it. Now, at this point, you might be wondering, okay, Beth, I've got my tracking systems, but where do WIDA standards actually fit into all of this? Well, here's how I like to explain it. Tracking systems tell you where your students are right now. WIDA standards help you decide where to take them next. Think of it like this. Progress monitoring gives you snapshots. Rubrics gives you consistent measures of growth. Portfolios gives you the story of that growth. And WIDA, or your state's ELD standards, take that information and say, here's the next realistic step your students can take. WIDA standards are not there to overwhelm you. They're there to guide your expectations. So instead of guessing whether a level 2 student should be writing paragraphs, the standards show you. At level 2, they're developing short sentences. At level 4, they're expected to produce connected ideas with more academic vocabulary. And this is where the can-do descriptors are gold. They show you across listening, speaking, reading, and writing what students can do at each level. That's the shift from thinking about deficits to planning from strengths. So how do you use them in lesson planning? I like to keep it simple with the FAST framework. FAST. First, the F stands for focus on the content goal. What's the grade level objective here? A is to align to the language demand. How will students show what they know? Is it going to be by reading, writing, speaking, or listening? The S is to scaffold by language level. So use your WIDA expectations to adjust the task. Sentence stems for level 2, paragraphs for level 5. And then T is to track growth, rotate domains, and collect evidence over time. See how that works? You're not writing 5 different lesson plans. You're teaching the same content, but using WIDA standards to set appropriate expectations and scaffold. And to make this even easier for you, we've created a simplified WIDA can-do descriptors guide just for you. And you can grab it for free at inspiringyounglearners.com/WIDA. This will be a game changer in your lesson planning because it is from K through 12, broken down in grade level clusters, broken down into language domains, and broken down into language levels. So you can flip to your second grader who is a level 3 in speaking and clearly see 6 or 7 can-do descriptors of what they can do. And you're going to use that to scaffold your lessons quickly and easily. Grab those. It will be a game changer and they're free. So to recap today's episode, first, use quarterly progress monitoring for consistent snapshots. Then use generic rubrics for simple, consistent growth measures across assignments. Then use language portfolios to tell the story of student growth. And then use WIDA standards as the roadmap that points you toward the next step in instruction. These tools together will save your sanity and give you confidence that you're not only tracking progress, you're using it to guide meaningful instruction, which is what it's all about, right? So don't forget, DM us rubrics on Instagram at Equipping ELLs for your free rubrics. Grab your free simplified WIDA can-do descriptors at inspiringyounglearners.com/WIDA. And as always, come join us if you think it's a good fit for you this year inside the Equipping ELLs membership, where you get all of these tools, all the support, all the resources that you need for this entire upcoming school year. And as a listener, either on YouTube or the podcast, I am sharing with you a special discount of 20% off the yearly price, the Tier 3 yearly price, which brings that down to about 60 cents a day. So for 60 cents a day, you can be set up for the entire year with everything you need, K through 12, all language levels, all domains, all done for you inside the Equipping ELLs membership. You can check that out at www.equippingells.com and use the coupon code EQUIP20 to take 20% off that Tier 3 yearly price. Grab that now before that offer expires. Thanks for tuning in today. You've got this, and your students are lucky to have you guiding them forward. I'll see you next week.